say it everywhere because we get a lot of inquiries about tax. Right, so I got 10 minutes. I'll stick to 10 on the dot. Okay. Thanks. First of all, I'd like to thank the Lord, thank the leadership, and thank you all for your time and for the platform. So I'll probably touch on 3 or 4 areas quickly. I'll start with fee waiver, really. I'd say fee waiver simply because it affects pretty much everybody, whether you're working or not. Immigration applications are expensive, everybody knows that, unless you are on the EU route, which is free. But majority of people really are not on the EU route, they're on the skilled worker route or family immigration, which is pretty expensive. So fee waiver, there's this misconception that it's for people who are not working. No, fee waiver is primarily affordability. So if you're working and you earn 10,000 a month, right? And say you got 4 or 5 kids, and from those 4 or 5 kids, your expenditure really at the end of the month comes to say 9,900, reasonable expenditure, because you don't just say to the home office that you can't afford it, you prove it. So they look at your bank statement, what you spend your money on. If you're spending £200 a week on takeaway, you can't justify fee waiver. But if it's reasonable, then by all means, you can apply for it. So I'd say to people, we need to take more advantage of it. I think a lot of people save, and then pay the fees. If you can save and pay, good. But if you're struggling, just go for it. And I mean, what's the worst that would happen? It would either be yes or no. And if it's well presented, if you set out your case properly, it's all about evidence. It's not about what you're saying, it's what you can demonstrate. So if you can prove, reasonably that you genuinely cannot afford it, yes, it'd be waived off. And even if you don't get 100% and you get 50%, let's say the IHS fee is waived, that's still a lot of a saving. If you got 3 kids and you pay an IHS fee for 3 of them, or you're paying for yourself plus 3, and then you save even 50%, that's still significant. So that's the first point I'll touch on. Moving on, I'm kind of whizzing through because I got 10 minutes, pretty much. Right, so next point I'd say is DV, domestic violence. Again, I feel that our community, when I say community, I mean the African community in general, don't really use that to their advantage. I'm not saying use it to your advantage in terms of in a negative way, but if you're in a genuine situation of domestic violence, then by all means go for it, seek legal advice. Again, everything is evidence-based. Go to the appropriate authorities, i.e. your GP, women's refuge, men's refuge. I say men's refuge because we kind of narrow domestic violence to physical, but it's not really physical, it's just 1% of it. Most of it, really, a lot of the cases that we'll deal with are emotional, financial, controlling, all those things are grounds for domestic violence if you can prove it. It's not just a simple matter of, he or she is maltreating me. It's because it's a criminal matter, you understand? So it has to be proven. So again, if you can prove it, and there is no reason why not, if you are really undergoing genuine domestic violence, then by all means go for it. I think I'll touch on 2 more areas quickly, and then my time will be up. So the other area I'll touch on would be the skilled worker visa. We all know the mess in our communities concerning that. I'd say to people, do your due diligence. You cannot check 100%, but you can at least carry out basic checks about your sponsor. Are they even a registered company? I get people, we get people coming into the office with master's degrees and they didn't even bother checking, is this company even registered? You understand? At least check, is it registered? There's a home office database where you can check who's got a sponsorship license and who hasn't. At least do those primary checks. And if, let's say you're sponsored and you come and the job's gone, that's a different matter. Things happen. But we're talking about cases where people are coming in and some of the companies don't even exist, or some of these companies don't even know these people have been employed by these people. So, that for me, it's negligent. There's no other way of putting it. There's nobody who would get up from Manchester or from wherever they are to say Scotland to go somewhere without even verifying that is this address valid or not. So why would you travel from another country, spend thousands to come here and not even check something that's basic as does this company even exist? You understand? It's just, I don't really understand it. But I'll say to our people, and if you got friends who are seeking to go like that route, so if you know people who are seeking seeking basically to go down that route, just make sure that at least let them basically carry out the basic checks, etc. I think one more point that I step down. Sorry. Right, so asylum. Ghana for a long time for a while it was a no-no. But I think now the climate's changing simply because of the law that was passed, recently. Or it's not really been passed, but Akufo-Addo hasn't really stamped on it yet. But he's not giving a seal. But I think that the environment now is different, for LGBT. I'm not a pastor. I'm talking about legality. So I'm not here to talk about morality. I'm just talking about legal issues. So people can keep their personal opinion. I'm not here to advocate for anything. I'm just talking about the law. So this is the issue. Ghana now, or most of Africa really, I think the environment is a bit more hostile now than say 5 years ago. So I think there's room for people who genuinely are fleeing persecution. I don't want somebody to stand somewhere and say, I'm saying that people should come in and say that they are X, Y, Z. But if you're genuinely fleeing persecution and you can prove that your life is in danger or you are in peril, then by all means, again, go for it. Again, it's evidence-based. I feel that a lot of the time we don't really present our cases properly. We say or we just say X, Y, Z. But law is not about X, Y, Z. It's about proving X, Y, Z. If I say that kid, who was here before is my kid, and the father also says is his kid, until the father provides evidence to demonstrate that it's his kid, we can both, we can argue, both of us. I can even say he looks more like me than the father. You understand? But if the father brings a birth certificate issued in this country, that puts the matter to bed. If I want to argue further, I'll say, well, the birth certificate is still not solid enough. Let's go DNA. Then so it's all about evidence. So if you come and make a claim, a lot of the time I feel that we don't really present our cases well. That's why a lot of our refusals, if you look at it really, it's a lack of evidence. It's not that people are not telling the truth. They're telling the truth. But the Home Office are not God. They don't know, you need to present your case beyond reasonable doubt, or at least reasonably well. So I just say that we just need to use the law to our advantage, or take full use of it. Maybe advantage might not be the right word, but it's there for people. It's there to protect people. It's there for a purpose. So let's use it. That's all I'll say. I think my 10 minutes are up, so I'll leave it here. And thanks for your time.